Welcome to the Fire Sprinkler Podcast with Chris and Logan.
This episode of the Fire Sprinkler Podcast is brought to you by the Reliable Automatic Sprinkler Company, celebrating its 100th anniversary. Reliable is the source for all your fire protection needs and manufactures the highest quality and most innovative fire sprinklers, valves, and special systems on the market. Reliable distributes a full line of best-in-class system components and backs it up with premier customer service throughout their 18 North America sales and distribution centers. Find a distributor near you by visiting the new reliablesprinkler.com. Reliable would like to take this opportunity to thank their contractor customers and all who have helped them save lives and protect property for the last century and into the future. Hey everyone, this episode of the Fire Sprinkler Podcast is kind of a collaboration with Drew Slocum of Inspect Point and the Fire Protection Podcast. The Fire Protection Podcast is another industry-related podcast that steps outside of just sprinklers. Drew talks about fire alarms, foam systems, fire extinguishers, pretty much everything in the fire protection industry. I've known Drew for a number of years now. He's been a guest on the podcast 2 times previously. It's always a pleasure to catch up with him and just talk sprinkler. Check out the Fire Protection Podcast. That's available now wherever you listen to your podcasts. Follow, subscribe, do whatever you got to do to support Drew. This episode, we discuss the current situation with COVID-19 and the current effect it has on the fire protection industry. I'm going to be releasing another episode with Shane Ray from NFSA in the next couple days where we talk about COVID-19 again, but more about what NFSA is doing for the industry to help everybody get through this crazy time. As always, follow me on social media. Let me know if you want to come on and talk sprinkler, and wash your friggin' hands. Without further ado, here's my conversation with Drew Slocum and the Fire Protection Podcast.
Like and subscribe.
Drew Slocum, Inspect Point, Fire Protection Podcast. Chris Logan, Fire Sprinkler Podcast. We started talking years ago when I started my podcast, and when you launched yours, we kind of got into it together, and you reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm going to be starting one. What do you think?" And I said, "Please do," because I'm sick of listening to myself in the car on the drive to work. How's everything working out for you?
It's great. We've got some extra time on our hands these days, so unfortunately. So I've got a couple getting ready to record next week. Inspect Point's doing really well. There's a lot of uncertainty out there, obviously. So I'm sure we'll get into that. But no, it's going well. This podcast it's a fun thing to do, and I'm glad you got it kicked off. And then everything was great after. It's been almost a year, I think, It was last April was the first episode.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're coming up on a year. I'm coming up on 2 1/4, something like that. At the end of February of 2018 is when I started mine. And it's been fun. Like, never, ever would I get the chance to talk to people in the industry that I've gotten the chance to talk to. So it's worked out a lot. It's worked out in my favor 100% because it got other people interested in creating content like you. Like this is exactly what my game plan was, is hopefully I could do it long enough to where somebody else would want to do it, and then I would have something to listen to. So it worked.
Yeah, exactly. There's only one other that popped up that I know of. It's the Life Safety Podcast. So
okay.
Give him a plug. I haven't listened to too many of them yet. Ruben Garcia's done it. It's more on the passive fire protection, like fire doors. Maybe I should probably listen to the podcast more.
Yeah.
But no, it's been fun. I've talked to a lot of people that I really respect in the industry, and there's a lot of people reaching out from all over the country, all over the world. It's weird. You see the analytics of the podcast come in and who's listening to it, and the majority of it's North America, Canada, and the U.S. But then there'll be like random spots in like New Zealand or Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
It's neat to see. I've got a decent following of about 30 or 40 people in Australia, like spread across Australia that download religiously, listen to the podcast, and it's awesome. Like, it's cool. I've hit every continent now except for Antarctica, which is I'm just waiting for somebody down in Antarctica to give me at least one download so that I can say I'm on every continent, so that my buddies, because I told my buddy, oh yeah, I'm on every continent. They're like, oh yeah, who listens in Antarctica? I'm like, oh damn it, nobody.
There's got to be a firefighter or a fire official down there somewhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to link up. I'm gonna have to go through my contacts and see if I have any business cards. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
Let's let's get to it. I know people don't want to hear us chat, right?
It's nice talking to you again. But yeah,
yes,
you reached out to me. You wanted to kind of talk about everything that's going on now. If you are unaware of what's going on now, you've been living under a rock. And I think actually it's safe to say that most people out there have been living under a rock just because of the situation that's going on. Nobody's traveling, nobody's going out and about. How are things in New York?
Well, I'm in Connecticut, so okay. I'm glad I'm New York City's. We moved to Connecticut about a year ago now.
Right.
Lived there for about 11 years, but still staying quite attached to it because I'm head of the Fire Sprinkler Contractors Association there. So that is, it's changing by the hour, I feel like. Mm-hmm. So every day, Mayor de Blasio, as well as Governor Andrew Cuomo, are having just press conferences on what's going on. I got to stay on top of construction there because they're threatening to shut down all construction, which is, it's kind of crazy if you shut down all construction in the largest city in North America, right?
Yeah.
So how does that not just hurt for the construction, but fire sprinkler and everything? How does the whole money flow going on with development and all of that? Fire safety, luckily enough, is an essential, categorized an essential business. Mm-hmm. So all those workers, construction workers and service and inspection workers are still going at it. But, that could change. And I don't think, I think service of the buildings with fire protection is going to stay there. It's just, I think some of the new construction is going to get hit either way, whether it's a job site shutdown or just funding of the project shutdown. It's kind of wild.
As a sprinkler contractor as well, that's what I'm waiting for. Not waiting like with my fingers crossed, but materials getting harder and harder to get. Delivery guys don't want to come out and send out material if there's anybody on site. I'm waiting for, being in Canada and being in Ontario, I'm waiting for the Premier to just say we're doing a provincial shutdown, shutting down all construction. And just like in the States, I'm sure there's been 2 or 3 press conferences a day. And, it's fascinating to watch how they're reacting to something that's never been an issue before. This is something that we've never experienced in my lifetime. And I mean, I'm pretty young, not to toot my own horn, but, there's never been a situation that's affected literally everybody in the world like this.
In the world. Yeah.
It's not just there's a little bit of a financial crunch in Southwestern Ontario or in out west or in the States. No, this is like a pandemic. It's a worldwide pandemic, and it sucks to see, but it's also, I think it is bringing out a lot of good in people for the most part. There are still people that aren't understanding exactly what needs to be done. But I mean, it's a time thing, right? Like it's going to hit, I think it's going to hit everybody, and I think it's going to be bad for a little while. And I just hope construction in general is able to adapt to the situation.
Yeah, I think either way, it's going to take a hit to the economy. There's a few things. Obviously, the health risks, that's number one, right. But personal and family and all that. But it's going to, the healthcare systems are going to be in flux for months and maybe, hopefully not years to come, but potentially just in flux of how things are handled. But and then the economic, which is huge as well, because every little thing that gets shut down is just going to be a ripple effect. So construction, I think, if we go into a recession or even beyond that, deep recession, construction companies are going to have to adapt. Fire protection companies, fire sprinkler companies. So, I'm going to plug in SpecPoint right now, but we're trying to work on some, now that we have some time and people are at home, we're going to work on some just video webinars to try to keep people positive for one. But hey, while you're indoors, let's focus on your business and see if we can do anything to kind of come out of this a little better.
Mm-hmm. It has given a lot of people the opportunity to, maybe not it sucks because the cash flow is essentially, you're not going to feel it now. You're going to feel it in 30 days or whatever your payment terms are as a contractor, right? If your payment terms are 10 days or 15 days or 30 or 60 days for maybe some out there, I hope not, but people are going to feel it in 30 days from now when all the invoices for the inspections that were done in the past week get rolled out and the payments don't flow in. That's when everybody's going to start feeling the crunch, and they're starting to know it. Like they're starting to see it now. You're starting to see the layoffs and stuff like that. It's a different animal. I am happy to see that the government has stepped up to offer financial assistance, at least in Canada. I'm sure they're doing it in the States as well. They've typically in Canada, when you apply for unemployment insurance, there's a 2-week waiting period where you don't get paid for 2 weeks and then your money starts. They've waived that. So if I'm off, if I decide Monday I'm laid off, I will get paid for that week, the following week, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, that's nice. There's something going on in the States. We'll see what happens. I think they're trying to do the best, but a lot of this is unknown too. So there maybe have to be multiple stimulus packages or whatever. I know. I just got alerted that tax day moved 3 months out, so that's great for us here in the States.
Yeah, that's right. We just got ours as well was just pushed to. We have until June 1st, and as well for renewing license plates and driver's license, health cards, things like that. Renewing all of those just got pushed back to at least June 1st.
Wow. Yeah, it's unprecedented, man. It's weird every day, because I've been stuck inside here. I went to the grocery store last night, it was fine. I got enough food, but it's just a weird feeling being out there with nobody's talking to each other. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's odd.
So I live in a small town in Canada, obviously. So a pretty friendly country for the most part. People are still, everybody for the most part is keeping that 6-foot distance.
Right.
Everybody's still, oh, hey, how's it going? Everybody, every once I'm a handshake guy. I'll shake anybody's hand that reaches out or says hello to me. Hey, how's it going? So that was a huge for a day or two. I'd reach out and then automatically go back to the Muay Thai elbow. Here we go. Let's kind of switch gears here. We're not touching anymore. We'll do the elbow bump. But nowadays it's even, how's it going?
At least you get eye contact, right? Little wave.
Yeah, that's hi. How are you doing today? Yeah. So what?
Well, it's.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you go. I'm gonna open up a beer, Chris, because I've had one sitting here.
Yep. Oh wow, what a nice koozie you've got there.
I know, right? I got my lobster, Narragansett, hometown. Wow. Open this up.
Given the circumstances, we'll try to keep it light.
I have a nice toaster for it as well.
Oh, my goodness, that's nice. Actually, you know what? Last Thursday was a career fair and industry dinner at Seneca College in Toronto. And I finally, after a year and a half, got rid of my last koozie. I ordered 1,500 of them. Maybe it wasn't a year and a half. It was probably 8 months. But between NFSA was what I ordered them for. I ordered 1,500 for NFSA, and then I brought them to NFPA, and then just different small trade shows in the area. And I finally got rid of my last 150 I had left, and I was so pumped to just finally not have 1,000 koozies in my or not koozies, but coasters in my basement. So in case anybody out there right now is going to my website to buy some, you're out of luck.
Well, I've got some over here in my office. I've got about 20, so I can put them on eBay.
There you go. You know what? The price just went up. It's a collector's item.
So how are you seeing it? I haven't talked to a lot of Canadian companies. We've been trying to reach out to all of our customers, contractor, fire sprinkler and beyond. But is construction stopped? Is inspection testing kind of going, or are people still waiting?
So for right now, large contract is still on the go. Us as a small family owned and operated company, we're taking it very serious as far as, maintaining distances. If we have an inspection that's not, if it's an annual inspection, as long as we're within the 3 months of NFPA, we'll try to push it back for 3 months. We're not going into buildings that we don't have to. We've pushed all non-essential work in nursing homes and care facilities shut down. Essentially, if we don't have to be in a building, we're not just going to maintain our existing schedule. We service a lot of chemical refineries here in Sarnia. We've told them, it's not you, it's me. I'm not going into your plant right now. But it's, most of the refineries have shut down operations as well to a skeleton crew. Non-essential personnel are working from home. So it's everybody's been meeting us with, no, that's exactly what we want you to do. Large contract is different, because then you get into the situation where if I simply refuse to show up to a job site, I'm technically in breach of contract. And that's something that I haven't heard any of the government officials talking about yet. I have a contract to provide a service. If I don't provide that service without any reason other than, me saying, nah, it's no good, am I in breach of contract?
Right.
So it's...
Well, the other thing you have to think about, and I guess I'm not a contractor, but I talk to them all the time and represent them. But what happens? The economy's going to take a hit either way here.
Yep.
Hey, Chris, your brightness just went up.
Yeah, so. I saw that. She just got overexposed. I don't know what happened. There we go.
Oh, you're good. What happens if because money flows down from the investors to the developer, to the general contractor, or CM, whatever that is, then down to the sub. So say you send your guys the last couple of weeks, if that goes under, are you even going to get paid for that? Like, there's a huge risk there, I would feel too. I don't know.
So the Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, people have a love-hate relationship with him. He's either very loved or absolutely hated. I don't know if the guy in the States has a similar kind of relationship with his people. People either love him or hate him.
Wouldn't want his job. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, we'll say that's actually. I wouldn't.
Especially right now.
You know what? There's a lot of people on social media that think they can do his job substantially better. But I digress. They have announced a lot of assistance for small businesses, large businesses, et cetera, et cetera. The Canadian government has set aside $83 billion in financial assistance specifically for COVID-19. So those kind of things are good to see. I haven't dug too much into how I get my hands on $83 billion yet. But it is something, as a company we've been looking at and just trying to figure it out, just trying to keep everybody going as long as possible, as well as keeping everybody safe. I'm not going to force my employees if they don't feel safe at work. I'm not going to force them. So it's a balancing act of, help me maintain my contracts. But at the same time, if your family wants you home, be home. You should be home with your family.
Yep.
So it's, just hoping the government sees that and is eventually like, you know what, let's take a 2 to 3 week timeout here. Let's just pause everything, push everything back 3 weeks. And go. I've been working from home.
That's if everybody's on the same page, though. If everybody got on the same page, I feel like this would, I don't know. We're going to look back at this podcast, and it might be obviously different in a few weeks. So hopefully it's a lot better, and we're out of this. But
it could be different tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's how fast things have been evolving. Is that it's changing day by day. Like I said, it's something we've never seen before as an industry and as a as a country, as a general world population. It's something we haven't experienced before.
Sure.
It's curious to see how, Italy's getting decimated right now. China was decimated. They're supposed to be on the swing, but I mean, I don't know if that's...
Yeah, it's all about stats, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
I don't know.
Any confirmed cases in your area?
It was weird, in the rival daycare that my boys go to, a little kid had it there.
Really?
Which is crazy. It's right down the street. Yeah.
Did you
they
hold
caught
on?
It
Let's back
from
up
the
here.
NBA play. They
Did you call it a rival daycare?
Rival, whatever. It's the other daycare in town.
The rival daycare. There's fist fights every other week on the way to school.
Rival daycare.
Go on. Trying to keep it light. We'll try to keep it light.
Right now, right? They the night or a few days before, they got an autograph from the NBA player that came down with it from the Utah Jazz. Wild. So the whole daycare is now in quarantine, self-quarantine for whatever 18 days.
Mm-hmm. And
that's literally right down the street from us. So I don't know, but nothing in Eastern Connecticut where we're at, but that's in Western Rhode Island, which we're on the border of. So,
right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's luckily I have a lot of friends in New York City and some in Boston, and New York City. It's a lot of people can work from home there, but most people are in the industry or
mm-hmm.
service industry. So I don't know. Anything tied to restaurants is it's tough.
Yep. It's even like small town. I live in a small town of like 3,300 people. There's 2 major restaurants in town. They're doing takeout only. And actually the big one, I think, just said, you know what? We're sending our people home. We're just closed. There's no takeout or anything anymore. It's and
then I've heard, in our industry, or not the sprinkler side, but the fire protection side is tied to that because you have all these suppression, these Amarex, whatever.
Yep.
The wet and dry chemical systems that are tied to these restaurants. So those businesses are within a day disrupted. Yep. Across the U.S.
Yep.
It's not hopefully diversified, and I have heard some great stories from this though. We had one of our customers sent us a note the other day that they have one of their kids has a severe respiratory problem,
mm-hmm.
and because of Inspect Point, they're able to work from home and able to continue on their business. So
awesome.
it was a really good, there's a lot of positives, like you said, are coming out of this. So, yeah.
It's it's going to be a balancing act for everybody over the next 6 weeks. I think are going to be crucial for our industry. Trying to figure out how to not manipulate, but try to adjust and try to make it so that we have newer, better systems in place to prevent future illnesses from spreading across the community, as well as just gives everybody time to pause, right? Everybody just kind of look at the way we're doing things. Is there a way that we can do things better? And that's what I've been doing for my company, is just kind of looking at things and how can we take this slowdown to improve our processes and operations, right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
So it's
it's funny. 3 weeks ago, I think it says at this point, there's an FSSA conference, Fire Suppression Systems Association down near Disney World, and it was a great show. Got to see a lot of clean agent, a lot of different, and they do everything. There's some Canadian companies there. Troy Life and Fire Safety were there. There's maybe a couple others as well. But anyway, the keynote speaker wrote a book called Rock the Recession. And this is literally like 2.5 weeks ago. So I'm like reading this book now, Rock the Recession, to get your business, and a lot of it's geared toward contractors. And if you don't have a good plan ready, and you don't have to have it all always written down, but at least in your mind of what do you do? What do you do if your largest customer all of a sudden, or your largest income stream, just leaves?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's really eerie that happened like 2.5 weeks ago, and now we're in the boat where it's definitely a recession. But how deep is it going to go?
Right. Where do you see it as a technology provider? Like essentially, you're an industry. I won't say an industry assistant, but you help out the fire protection industry. How do you see a lot of the smaller contractors like myself, as well as the bigger contractors, getting to the other side of the hill?
Well, I'm going to reference some of the book here, but, the biggest thing that so construction's heavily tied to new construction in fire sprinkler, alarm, and even on the suppression, definitely on the suppression side too. What gets you through the other side is the inspection and service.
Right.
So if you have a good balance in your portfolio, that's what, yes, you're going to have to downsize on the other side, but that's what pays the bills and what's going to keep money coming in, revamp your business in the process. And then you come out when that new construction picks up again, you're coming out and you have a bigger platform on your service side. And generally that's higher profit as well. So, because you're not dealing with a GC, you're dealing more with an owner.
Right. Yep.
Getting, emergency services and things like that. So, if you have that good balance right now, perfect. If you've got to scale up, but if you're 90% new construction, 10%, service, it's gonna be a big hit.
Mm-hmm.
I think. So, but the other side of that, sales marketing, that's what they said, as well in the book, is a lot of money gets taken out of different businesses. So they pull back on anything they don't need. Sales and marketing could be potential to really drive that. And it's not right away. Recessions last. If I had a crystal ball, I'd be a billionaire. But I don't think this one's going any way anytime soon.
No, it's we've said it a couple times now already. It's day to day. We have no idea where it's going to be in a week. We have no idea where it's going to be in a month. We have, it's crazy times. We've been using, all our office staff is working from home. All of our office staff is 3
That's
people,
great.
right? It's 3
That's
people.
great. You're geared up for that. What I've been hearing in a lot of contractors, what I've been talking to a lot of them. A lot of them some of them didn't even have laptops for their employees. So it's like, oh man, and then I talked to my cousin who's in like digital technology sales, and laptops and everything are back ordered, like beyond where anything's ever been.
I haven't been to Best Buy because I've been trying to stay home as often as possible, but I mean, I'm sure it's bare, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy times. The only thing we can tell everybody is to wash your damn hands, stay at home, keep your family safe. That's really the do we have any specific advice for fire protection people right now? No, it's just stay safe and just pay attention.
It's stay safe, but like you said before, like what you're doing is taking some time to reflect and see what you need to do in the short term,
yep,
and what you need to do in the medium term. And you're going to have, I think everybody's going to have some time on their hands in the next couple of weeks. So, you have some time to reflect on that. And stay positive. Wash your damn hands. Yes, definitely. But I think positivity will get you out of it. Right.
Yeah, exactly. What else? Do you have anything else you want to talk about before we get off here? Like we just, you reached out, you wanted to talk generally about the situation with COVID-19 and how the industry is going to, potentially get through this. But I don't think either of us have an answer for how the industry is going to get through this or what we can do other than just, stick it out, maintain.
We're fire and life safety, I think, is pretty safe industry being new commercial construction and residential construction. It'll take a dip, but it'll definitely come back. So,
right.
You're going to put out some podcasts, right?
I'm planning on, there's going to be a lot of industry people that aren't working. So I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of people that want to talk sprinkler, and that's, that's my bread and butter. I'll talk sprinkler all day. So if there's anybody out there, again, that wants to come on and talk about a new product or talk about a new procedure or an idea or anything, any suggestions for anybody out there that's kind of losing their mind with this lockdown, reach out to me, or I'm sure Drew's looking for people to talk to as well.
Oh yeah.
Reach out to either of us, your preferred podcast. Maybe we'll say that. And let's get content out there for people in the industry to, stay involved and not fall off the map, but fall off the map, right? Keep everybody interested.
Yeah. I've got 2 geared up, I think, for next week we have a bunch of webinars that we're doing internally to try to keep people in touch or even progress. So stay in tune with that. But I would love any ideas. And again, we're all in the same boat. And the quicker we do this, I think the quicker this thing is over.
Yeah. Stay home.
We're back
Wash
to
your
the
damn
strong
hands,
times.
and let's get back to work here as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Drew.
Cheers, Chris.
Yeah. We'll talk again soon here. We'll even, boom. There we go.
There we go.
Have a good one. As soon as we get off the phone, go wash your damn hands.
Sounds good.
Talk soon. Hey everyone, this episode of the Fire Sprinkler Podcast is done. If you liked this episode, leave a review, comment, or hop over to my social media pages and let me know. Just search Fire Sprinkler Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Don't forget to hashtag Fire Sprinkler Podcast and anything you think I should know about or see. If you have any suggestions for future episodes of the Fire Sprinkler Podcast, email info@firesprinklerpodcast.com. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Take care.